Okay, guys, here we are, Tarantinoing it. You'll have to wait till the end to figure out why.
Know.
You won't even know.
Know how deep it goes.
He is James from Craving Strange. I am Mike from Something Heavy. Together we are Bacon is My Passion, and this is Bacon is My Podcast on Strangerhood TV YouTube channel. Oh. What is up, James?
It might be, but it is probably not the greatest podcast you will ever hear. This one's about music and stuff.
We're things and stuff and music and today is very much about music.
Yeah. This is the first thing you're hearing. But we're many drinks deep into the second hour of the last thing we recorded, which may or may not even come out. Behind the curtain. You just peeked behind the bacon.
Ooh, you can use that in so many ways.
You can.
This name delicious. Was the best name that we could have, or you could have ever come up with.
Wow, it was an us thing, man. It was an us.
Well,
I wouldn't have come up with it had I not.
You
been
came
drunk
up with it,
and at your place. About to go play a Christmas acoustic show.
Yeah.
For the kids.
You were wasted, and you came to my house, and you were like, I'm hurting. I was like, I got a little Jameson left. Do you want? He could just give me a shot. I'll be fine. And then we drove from Seaford to Long Beach, was it?
Long Beach.
Yeah.
Long Beach.
And there we were. We killed it. We did Double Rainbow.
Yeah. And
Ben the Intruder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good
raping
freaking stuff.
There, man.
And
hide your kids.
Yeah. Go YouTube. You're on YouTube now. You're watching us on YouTube, I hope.
Yeah. Go look. It's in
hit a new tab.
Nobody remembers that shit anymore.
Hit a new tab. Look up Double Rainbow. Look up Ben the Intruder.
Yeah.
You won't be sad that you've done so. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the recording process. We're going to be a little bit more straightforward. This is going to be like a serious show. We've done 3 kind of random, put together, what happens in our head shit.
A lot of wrestling.
A little bit of comic books. A lot of backpacks. Backpacks. But they're great. Those are great, too. But this one, we're going to kind of play a little bit more of the straight and narrow here.
Yeah, a little more focused.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't know if I like it. I
don't either. I'm surprised that the focused one is 3 drinks in.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's alarming.
Although I will say that 3 drinks to focus us kind of makes sense if you think about it. Because we're a little scattered to begin with.
Oh.
Get a few drinks in, we focus. A few more drinks in, we start to scatter a little bit.
A few more drinks in.
This is that window.
Yeah. Yeah. This could fall way off at any point.
Right. But you're going to hear the window of wonderment.
That is recording, songwriting, holding up lyrics and shit.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
So enjoy.
See, I write in all caps.
Do you? What, are you screaming every time you write?
I think so.
That's just your demeanor?
I don't know.
I need to write this down!
I mean, when I type, people make fun of me because even in texts, I always have punctuation and I put stuff in the right place and always capitalizing and stuff like that. And when I handwrite, everything's in caps. I don't know why.
Interesting.
It's odd.
When I write, a lot of things are a straight line. It's like the first letter, and then like scratch, 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 straight line, and then another letter. I kind of,
I don't
you
get
know
that.
how like online you'll have those things where someone will send you a meme or something where it'll be uh, like a word that they've taken most of the letters out of, and you'll still be able to read the sentence.
Yeah.
That's how I write on a daily basis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, as
it's
long as
very
it
choose your own adventure. It's very like fill in the blanks. I'm counting on your brain to figure out what I'm saying.
yeah, I actually at work I just do a lot of shorthand stuff too. And nobody knows what the hell I'm writing, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, if I'm writing out lyrics or anything nowadays, honestly, I don't have fucking time to sit down with a book and that's what sucks is because every time I go down a stationery aisle, I'm like, I need this, and I grab a
Yeah,
fucking notebook
I
and I'm
miss
all
buying
excited.
notebooks.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
do.
what for? Now you get the phone, you get
Yeah,
you know,
my iPad's great though. Once I figured out how to like that I could use the pencil and I could write like it's a notebook, that's awesome. But
yeah,
it doesn't feel the same. Like I used to buy a bunch of notebooks based on like what they looked like and what was on them and just what I was feeling that day and stuff. And I would buy one, and if I started writing in it, it would end up being like that would be the one I would kind of go to. And I have like albums that were written in one notebook, and then like once I finished the record, I put the notebook away, and I was just like, all right, I'm done with that one. And I would grab another one and try and write in another one, and it, I don't know, they all kind of developed meaning to me in some way or another. And there's just different ways of writing, and all like I'd get small ones, and so I would write like much shorter, and I'd have like weirdly I'd be like a paragraph, and then the then I would have like the next paragraph to the right of it for some reason, and I could write out of order, and I had these weird ways of just kind of like doing weird zodiac codes to myself that I would understand later when I would try and try and redo the song and stuff. And now I find them, and sometimes I'll actually like I'll read it and I'll totally understand it. It'll take me a minute, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is why I did this way." But other times I look at it and it's like, "Okay, I need to hire a detective to get through this
the
because I have no idea what the hell I'm writing."
little Orphan Annie decoder ring would
Yeah,
help you.
exactly. Got to send away for
Actually,
something.
I actually so recently because I'm sure most of our listeners know that I just moved all of my shit into my studio outside.
I
So
don't think most listeners know it. We got to think about the fact that we're reaching new people all the time.
all the time. So anyway, I was down in my basement. All of my shit was down in the basement. But then COVID hit, and my wife was nice enough to be like, "Yeah, go build a fucking studio in your garage, in our
Nice
garage."
enough, AKA, you need to go outside with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. So
Which
yeah,
turned out to be the best thing because you have a pretty sweet setup.
yeah. So here I am, but now because I took all the essentials up, there's still so much other shit down there that she's like, and myself included. I'm like, oh man, there's so much other shit that I just don't want to put up there. So I guess you gotta throw stuff out or figure out another home for it or whatever. But I
I know
came
someone that's
across,
going to. I know someone that's going and selling things every weekend in Jersey.
yeah, but actually, maybe, but yeah, she actually found a bunch of shit, and I've got like old lyrics in
Oh, nice.
every which way
Yep.
that they could be done. I notepad. So the notepad function
Oh wow.
on a Windows. So I started it out that way, and then right
So I'm looking
wrote.
at for everyone listening. I'm looking at a page that is typed. It starts out typed, but typed up on the lower, like if you cut the paper, if you fold the paper into fourths, right? So you have like that X, that cross in the middle of the paper. So now you have 4 quadrants. The top left is typed, nicely spaced. You could clearly defined paragraphs, and
That's
then
what I do.
to the right of it, it looks like it's in pencil. I don't know for sure, but it looks like
Yeah.
pencil because it's lighter. It's definitely a
There's
different pen.
there's pencil, there's pen, there
Yep.
it's I
You've
think
got
I
four
messed around
separate
here.
boxes that
This right
seem to
here.
be in different writing utensils and also like somewhat different penmanship also. So it's
Um
really like we're examining your right and left brain there
yeah,
all over
maybe.
that thing.
And then this I'm pretty sure this is me going we should probably change the structure of the song because all I see is verse, chorus, bridge, verse. And yeah, so that's a thing. And
I find
so yeah, I just got she gave me this huge like this book of just like tons of shit, and it's pretty cool like reading back. But then there's like sometimes you read back at these things and you're like, what's wrong with you? Stop being such a pussy. Because this is definitely stuff from before I was 21, and
well, yeah,
super angsty.
our lyrical content in our previous years, especially our formative, like learning how to write. I know at least mine.
Yeah,
It was a lot of like either it was like a lot of rhymes or it was just
yeah,
overly like overly sappy type of
yeah,
emotional stuff, which
yeah.
I guess like the songs are still that. They're overly sappy emotional stuff, but I'm just better at phrasing them now, I
Yeah,
think anyway.
yeah.
Um but yeah, I'll look at old lyrics. Although sometimes I'll find old lyrics and I'll be like, "Man, I used to be good." I'll find that too.
Apparently, I didn't always write in all caps either, which
Yeah.
is new.
Yeah, I was noticing that a little bit too.
I didn't. So I wonder when that switch happened. We'll have to investigate.
Go
One
through the
day.
archives. I find stuff all the time that I'll have what looks to be a chord progression on top of the page, and then it'll be like underneath the chord progression because I know how to read music, but I'm very slow with it,
Mhm.
right? I know how to write tablature. I don't know how to
Right.
write guitar in notation. I can't write. I can read it, but I can't write it. It
Okay.
just takes me way too long to do it. But I only have put that skill set together over the last number of years that I've been teaching.
Yeah.
Before that, nothing. And I'm always interested to
I'm
see how people write things down to remember them as musicians. Like Annie has a way of writing chord progressions out where if she writes A5, it means A on the fifth fret. So that
okay.
means a power chord,
Power chord.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas to me, A5 means just your it's an A5. It's an
Yeah.
open A with the secondary E note,
Right.
right? That's because E is the fifth note
Yeah.
in the progression or in the scale. So that's what an A5 is to me. So when I see that, or I'll see D, and it'll be like I guess D5 would be the same thing, and I'm like,
Right.
okay, so that's on the A string, like that's how she writes it out.
Huh.
And it took me a second because I'm looking at her notes one time, and I'm like, what does any of this mean? Like, how do you do this? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this weird code that you're writing in? And for me, I'll look back on old things, and it'll be really weird because it'll be like F sharp E B because I wrote every song with that progression
Right.
for a long time, and but then underneath it there'll be a bunch of little dashes, and there'll be like 16 dashes and then a little space, and then two dashes that are closer together than the other dashes. And I'll be like,
Yeah,
am I trying to write a rhythm? Is that what I was doing? Because
maybe.
I have no idea what that means when I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I did a lot of the times when. So before, so for the past, what's it been, dude? Like it's got to be every bit of 10, 11 years.
Right.
Uh, maybe more, maybe 12. I've been able to kind of record myself, even if it's not good at all. I mean, actually, you know, pretty much all of my musical career, I've always had some sort of recording apparatus, even if it was the old Tascam shitty
Right. Little
cassette
four
things.
tracks.
Yeah, I actually, dude, I took that seriously. I went in and I mixed and stuff like that. I had the four
Nice.
track. I had the four track and I had a like a small 4 channel mixer, and I would we would all do it live, and then I would mix down, and then I would have our singer sing,
Come
and
in
then
and
I
do it
would
later.
do and then I would do backups after that. But I think that's kind of just what I've always done for coming up with a song, and the other thing too is jamming. Like I don't remember always coming to the table with a riff or a chord progression or whatever it may be. I think before I was a singer, it was always just jamming, and we just elaborate on a jam, and then yeah, it's just, I'm at the point where I don't remember like writing without having
Without
something to
some kind
remember
of
that.
recording.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I fought that
yeah, I
forever.
know you did.
Every time I would get them because I would have every intention to do it, and it just never felt. Uh, it never inspired me to do it that way. It always felt like it was making it harder for me, because the way I write, I just sit down with a guitar and I sit down with a notebook or whatever, and I just kind of write and I just kind of put stuff together, and I go back and I redo stuff, and I flip things around. I'll try pieces in different areas, and I do all that stuff. But when it came time to do it while like recording and like setting up a mic and um, like getting everything to sound right and then edit it or mix it or anything like that, it was always just kind of like, it's just me and a guitar. Why am I doing this? This is annoying. And so when I got the first phone that I had that had like some kind of a voice memo on it, and I actually had a regular voice memo, a digital voice
Yeah,
recorder
yeah, I
before,
had one of those too.
yeah, before I had a phone with one, and and I would do that. When I had a 4 track, I literally wouldn't use 4 tracks. I would record something on a tape, and then I would be annoyed because I couldn't just go back and quickly like record over it, or I couldn't record another thing and listen to them back to back quickly, and it's like my brain was like, I need this to be digital
Yeah,
and I need this to be
yeah,
fast. And so I always kind of fought it because it stopped me. I would start setting stuff up, and then I would lose whatever inspiration I had going on because I felt like I was having to get too technical with it. And it wasn't till like really now that I'm
right.
kind of like, I have to do this.
Yeah,
and and
yeah,
I'm finding some fun in figuring it out through this process, because setting a mic up and getting sound and getting things to do a podcast or to do like a quick little video thing for a Will It Sound Good acoustic or something like that, it doesn't feel like recording to me yet, but I'm
yeah,
learning how to use all the stuff to do something else,
yeah,
so that when I sit down to set it up for recording, I can kind of have it set up Because for me, if it's set up and all I have to do is like hit record, and then I don't have to think about it again until I have to name it to save it, then I'm cool.
It's a good thing.
Then it's awesome. But
Yeah.
if I have to like do a bunch of shit to start, I'm like, I just want to sit down and play guitar and like try and write a song,
Yeah.
or I'm motivated to write. I don't want to fucking set up a bunch of gear. I just want to write, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what though? You've always got a space. Like since I've known you, at least, you've always had a space that you could do that.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I found to be usually the problem. Actually, so and it got me thinking that the whole Tascam thing and stuff like that. So I used to use the Tascam in the late '90s, early 2000s, and I would take that and I would. You remember the old, the Windows computers that would have a recording device,
Yeah.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would literally do is I'd take the RCA right left out of the Tascam, plug it into the microphone of the computer, and that's how I would do my mix downs.
So you were like doing digital mix downs.
I was doing digital mix downs
That's great.
because in the early 2000s you needed to have CDs. So
Right.
I had my 4X CD burner. So every, hour and a half I'd have a new CD. And yeah, we would just that's how we would duplicate CDs. Um,
Well, you were the
but
first person
that's kind
that
of what I wanted to do.
yeah, you're the first person
It's
that I knew that got a like a CD printer duplicator thing. I thought
yeah.
that was super cool when you got that.
Yeah, it was super cool. The problem was is that it just wasn't well developed.
Right.
Um, for whatever reason, it was a small company who created it, and I think they were just too big for their britches. And
Right. That sound was me throwing away my little airline empty
yeah,
bottle
yeah, I saw.
because I poured it in my thing. So if anybody heard that, that was a bank shot off the wall into the trash can
Nice, nice.
because we're musicians, so we're good at sports. Which means
Yeah,
I'm gonna
man.
pick that up
That's
off the floor before I leave.
man. You know what? I need to go get a drink too, but I don't have one immediately available.
This is the last of mine. This is my last drink that I have available right now.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad you're not here. Otherwise, you would have shared it.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. Next week.
So, next week. next
week
week.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Good. Good. God damn it.
So so yeah, I'll talk a little bit while you get yourself a drink. I will talk about my experience with CD burning and stuff like that for
CD burning and recording
CD burning and recording.
with
What we
James.
did, like I was in a band where we pretty much had to have all that stuff, and we were very adamant that our stuff look as pro as possible, and to me, like CDs were a giveaway. Uh, I used them instead of flyers. So we tried all kinds of stuff. We did the CD printing route. We got one of those old sticker punches where like you would print stuff out on a regular printer sheet, and then it would have stickers, the little round stickers, and then you would put them on your CD, and you would have to use kind of like a squeegee type system like they do with your phone protective your protective glass to get the bubbles out. It would be that kind of idea, and I would put the stickers on the CDs, and most of the time they were pretty good. Sometimes there'd be a little air bubble in them. Sometimes they'd be a little off center, but at least we had CDs to give out to people, and they didn't look like a Sharpie written on it, which I still like that. You know, I always I came up in a very with a very like DIY punk rock mindset, and so I like that stuff. I like lo-fi. I like that type of aesthetic. But for us, it was like, well, our band can't be the band that's handing out CDs with Sharpie on them. So we're going to print out the cover on these things and then sticker them on. And then
I
that
was
went
just,
to
I was literally. I'm sorry, I don't mean to
yeah, that's
interrupt,
all
but
right.
I was the immediately after I walked out, I was like, oh man, CD stompers. We got
Yeah,
to talk about CD stompers, and
that's
now I walk
exactly.
in, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. And so once I graduated from I was basically saying that like um, I've kind of not been as embracing of technology for the aspect of songwriting and recording. I've embraced the technology. I just haven't learned to use it myself. I've been like, well, let me find somebody who's already good at this, so that I can just. All I ever wanted to do is I just wanted to like write songs, sing, and play. I don't want to do anything else, right? And um, but I also had this mindset, and every band I've ever been in has had this mindset of we have to look more pro. We have to come across like we have our shit together more than anyone else around. You know, not to compete with them, but just because I what I see everybody else doing, I want to make sure that our stuff stands out from that. So I didn't want to hand out just flyers. I wanted to hand out CDs. I didn't want to hand out CDs with Sharpie on them. I wanted to hand out CDs with some kind of printing on them.
Right.
I wanted full color printing on them when everybody started handing out stuff that was like you could get the stompers and they were putting stuff out. So we had to do like full color. So the color was running like because they're
I
not,
still have.
it,
I
it,
still
it looked like
have
shit
the.
because it was too dark, and we couldn't afford to get more stuff. So it was like we were putting them on anyway, and they were like you couldn't see everything, and
I still
so
have the Sick as Monday one.
yeah, and
Yeah.
once we found a place that would actually do the printing for us, then we just kind of outsourced it. We were like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We'll do, I had a drummer that could record stuff. And so we would record the stuff, and then I found a place that would do the printing. So they would print it and we'd order CDs, and then I found a cheaper place that would sell me CD cases. So
Yeah.
we would have an assembly line at the studio because I didn't want to spend the extra $40 because we didn't have it.
Right.
And like I was very I penny pinched a lot. Um as a guy that lived in his van. It's like I was penny pinching
You
because I
you
was just very
because
much
you were roughing it a little bit,
well, I
so you
was I kind
understood.
of it was kind of an all for the cause thing. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, if I can afford to work with the better printing place and I can get better looking jewel cases if I buy them separate. And that just means that everybody has to do a little bit more work. And that I'm okay with. I don't
Right.
mind doing the work. I have no problem stuffing envelopes if somebody else prints it out. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to have to print it out and stuff the fucking envelope,
Right. Right.
right? But then as time has moved on, it's just been I've found that like I'm able to um, have a little bit more control over what we do if I learn a little bit more about everything, because the more I leave to other people, the more chances there are for things to either not get done or not get done correctly, or there to be an issue that I have to take care of, and I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal
Yeah.
with anything, but
Yeah.
I just want to sing and write song. I just want to sing songs that I wrote. I can, because I could sing. I could go sing for
Right. You could just
something.
go
You
do
know what I mean?
something. Yeah.
Like that's something that you can do. And cool. If that's your thing, if your thing is just like I want to perform, I want to sing, and I don't care what it is that I sing, or whatever. That's awesome. But I just never had that. I was like, I want to sing my own songs. I want to play my own songs. I want to do it with a full band. I don't want to go do an acoustic tour. I don't want to like I like the four dudes in a vehicle touring, and I like that. I like that that like, I was saying while you were getting a drink, I was like, I just grew up with that like DIY punk aesthetic and that mindset. And so it's like you get your group and then you go wage war on the world.
Yeah.
And that's always what appealed to me. And so I've had to learn over time that like, okay, you can still do that, but you can't do it the same way because the
Right.
way doesn't work. It's like
The
it's
way
like
the way changes too.
yeah, it's like trying to fight a drone with a samurai sword.
Right.
It's like it just doesn't. You got to get a drone, man. You got to
Yeah.
Samurai swords are awesome, but I'm not taking one into battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
For me too, it came out of necessity. And, I always took to it at a real young age because, I would just save up my money and be like, okay, well, what does my band need? Okay, we need to record. I'll get a fucking 4-track. And I just went out and I got a 4-track and a bunch of mics.
You're a very practical thinker. You are. Like,
and
it works. Like it's a good way to be. You know what I mean? But you're that way in general that I've noticed is that you're very like, here's a problem. Let me figure out how I can solve that problem.
Yeah, and I think that's for my work, I work with contractors, and I've had contractors at my house, and I fucking hate it because
Right.
it's because like I would rather just fix it. Just let me put the time in, let me put the research in.
Right.
I'll just fucking do it myself. It's just easier to just do it myself. So yeah, just like at a young age, I got that Tascam, and it was working out pretty well. Everything that I did on it sounded awful, like absolutely atrocious.
Right.
But I did it, and I was, at the time I was like, well, you know what? I didn't, and we're talking about early 2000s, and how much money did you need to go record 3 or 4 songs at that time?
About $2,500.
About $2,500. Like I was able to get our songs listenable, not good, but they were listenable, and I was able to grow a fan base with just that.
Yeah.
And as time moved on, we went into the digital age, and it was one of those things where you look around and you go, man, it's attainable. It's no longer.
I also had that like, I'm already doing this in this way. Now here's a product or a means to do it in a way that cuts out some of the issues that I'm having already.
Right.
It cuts out some of the sound issues that you run into. It cuts out some of the extra work to keep things organized.
Right.
So it kind of like is continuously streamlining the process that you already started with.
Right.
Which is why that works so well, I think.
And another thing too is just, over the past, I don't know, maybe 10 years, I mean, let's face it, you can go and you can make a great record for, $5,000.
Yeah.
Now, you can also go on Amazon and Sweetwater
and spend $5,000
and spend $5,000 on an absolutely insane studio. And I'm serious. You can get some incredible equipment. You could buy the fucking computer if you wanted,
right,
for $5,000,
right,
and make a great sounding record. But you just need to put the time and effort and research in. That's all. And I was more than willing to put the time and the research in because, I loved it. And I went to school for recording for a little bit and whatnot. And it's, stories for another podcast or maybe the Patreon. It was, good 3 or 4 times I did that.
I had the
But
opportunity to do that, and I went for business and marketing instead.
yeah,
Because I was
I don't
like,
know.
what am I going to use more? I'm in
Yeah.
a band, man. I need marketing and business.
Yeah.
And
Well, you do.
now I
You do.
yeah, but I probably should have taken some recording classes.
Yeah.
But that's why I have you. That's
Well, yeah, that's why I'm here now. So,
like I said, I find somebody that I know could do it, and I learn from them.
and I'm happy to teach.
If
That's my
anybody liked or heard or listened to Craving Strange's Father Christmas cover last Christmas for
Oh, yeah.
2019, Mike did that. That was all you coming to the studio and us.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had less gear than we have now.
Right.
We have better drum mics now.
Both of
We have
us.
yeah, we
Both of us.
so,
Well, the other thing too was, you approached me and you were like, "Hey, I want to do a recording." Cool. But it's got to be done in 2 weeks.
right. See, that's
So-
why that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Things take too long for me, man.
Right.
I need
Well,
to get
you
things
know-
done. I have ideas and I have them late, so I need them done fast.
Hey, I mean, look at Death Be a Woman. That too.
That
That's the other thing, you know.
That
It was-
too. I mean, that
hey.
was done in one night. Well, that
Well,
was
we
written
wrote it in one night.
and then
Re-recorded.
recorded
the
in
next.
one night, and then mixed in however long you took to mix it, over the course of a few days.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm guessing. It probably took you a few days at least. But what a great sounding! Like, I'm super proud of that.
Thanks, dude.
And,
yeah, I'm proud of it too. It was fun.
And it
It was
just,
a lot of fun.
man, it was super fun, and it was easy. You got me, honestly, to. You're probably the reason that I'm more open to learning about this, because of working with you and seeing that things could happen quickly and things could happen easily, right? And kind of being able to write in that, because like you've sat with me and seen how I write. It's very
Yeah.
like stream of conscious, and all of a sudden, and I'll just be like, that's an idea, and, like.
Yeah.
If there's a guitar in my hand, it's like there's like here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea.
It's if you have a guitar, and this is no offense, so don't take any, but you literally have riff diarrhea.
I do, yeah.
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 Which isn't a bad thing.
No, but being
It's
able
not a bad
to-
thing all the time. But
Yeah.
it's- but
being able to work with you and kind of like see that, like, okay, having you go, okay, let's use that one. Let's build on it. Right? And that's what I
Yeah.
would do in a normal situation. In a situation where I'm sitting down with an acoustic guitar, because that's typically how I write, I wouldn't have riff diarrhea. I have riff diarrhea when I'm hearing a cool electric guitar sound and
Yeah.
there's a drum beat that's looping, and I'm just like, I could do this. I could do this. I could
Yeah.
do this. And I just kind of keep going, and I keep hearing things. So in that situation, it's probably important for me to, at least for a while, have someone that can be like, okay, let's aim that. Let's okay, ADD. Let's let's just work on the A.
there you go.
And but the frustration for me was always with an acoustic and stuff. As I start to try and record, that whole everything that you're doing while I'm just coming up with stuff is the stuff I don't want to do, because it
Right.
stops me from coming up with stuff. Because I have
Yeah,
to
but-
like, I gotta turn a computer on, and I gotta
Yeah, but you
bring up
don't.
a program, and then I gotta make sure that I'm plugged in, and then I gotta get a sound, and then I gotta. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, why am I doing all this? And I realize that I don't have to do all that,
No.
right? I don't have to do that. I just have to like stick with something and use it as a tool to say this is the same thing as hitting voice memo on my phone. It's just a way that I can do it and then build off of it and use
Exactly.
whatever I recorded on my phone because, like you, I have 10,000 voice memos on my phone
Yeah.
that I'll never listen to again because the one good idea that could have become something was in the middle of three of the same idea that was becoming something,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't have a way to go back to it, and I can't use what I recorded on my phone for anything because
Right.
it doesn't exist in a way where I can use it. So that's one thing that I've definitely learned, and one of the things that pushed me to start creating a situation for myself where I can do something similar. I don't know if I'll ever like take to it the way that you did, um, but between you and then also working on the first couple of Craving Strange records with Jimmy and seeing Jimmy Tasson, our drummer at the time, was doing everything, and watching him struggle to make a record through like the only interface we had at the time was a little line 6 kidney shaped pod, and it was like version 1 of that pod.
Yeah.
And we made, the Sick as Monday record was made on that, and Save Yourself was made on that, and uh, and most of A Life Exceptional was made on that as well, and Besides was made on that, and the bass parts to Careful the Landmines was made on that. There was a lot of stuff, vocal, everything was through that little thing because that was the interface that
Yeah.
we had, and he was one that was resistant to getting and learning a new interface because it was like, well, I have this thing that works
Right.
and it's easy. And it was like that was a step further than me, where like, yeah, if I have one thing and it works and I don't ever have to change it, cool. But then I also have the mindset of, is there something better out there? Is there something better? Because I am one of those too. Because everything in my life I treat the same way I treat bags, backpacks.
I'm looking for newer, better, stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
There always is, and it's awesome. And I already, I bought a 22 track mixer / interface.
Yeah.
That
Yes, you did.
that right now makes me question if I'm worried for the next Apple update because I'm like, it ain't gonna work with that because it's already, even though it's not that old, it's pretty much already obsolete. And I'm like, ugh, why don't I
Yeah.
just pay somebody and go to them and let them worry about buying all the new shit and upgrading and dealing with their stuff, and I can just make music.
Yeah. I remember when you I remember vividly you texting me about this purchase you made,
Mm-hmm.
the interface and stuff, and I was up in Massachusetts, at Great Wolf Lodge, and I pull in, and I see all these texts, and Jen's getting the kids ready, and I'm getting ready to get all the luggage out, and you texted me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you got a what? Send me a picture.
Right.
And you sent me the Sweetwater thing. I think you sent me like a few numbers, like figures of how much you paid and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And then you sent me that, and the first thing I said back, and Jen's like, Mike, we need to go inside. And I was like, just hang on a second. Hang on a second. The kids are in the freezing fucking cold.
I interrupt lives.
And
That's what I
I'm
do.
looking at this thing, and all I could say is, that thing is a fucking beast.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you in a bit.
you did say that.
Yeah.
I got that text back, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I just remember looking at it and going,
and I gotta say, like, I love Sweetwater. Like, if you're a musician, then
they're great.
talk to the people there. They're awesome. My Sweetwater rep, his name's Jared. And
Mine is Robert.
yeah, mine's Jared, and I'm sure he wears khakis.
Robert Koch.
I can't remember Jared's last name right now.
Yeah, well, Robert Koch. Go on.
But I told him everything I wanted to do and what I was doing, and I think that my own hesitance to again fully embrace what we were about, because this was just pre-COVID, right?
Yeah.
So my mindset was still like, all right, I'm getting rid of, to be able to do this, I'm getting rid of our PA and our speakers and everything that we have in the studio to be able to rehearse. And the most important thing to me is to be able to rehearse and to write. But I would also like to track if we can, and I would really like to be able to live stream, because we're trying to get into that. I feel that that's where things are going, and I want to do more stuff online. But tracking was also part of it. So it was like, I mainly need something that's going to be able to be an interface, but also I need it to be able to run rehearsals. I need to be able to run full volume rehearsals, but keep everything mic'd up to be able to record separate tracks for all of our stuff. So it needs to be 20 tracks, because I need all the drums mic'd, and we're going direct with our guitars, and I need the mics, and I need all that stuff, but I also need to be able to live stream. I need it. So I was telling him all this stuff, and he was like, all right, well, we have a couple things that do that. Here's this one from, the one that I got, and then here was this other one that they had that was similar, but they weren't going to have it in stock for a couple more months, but it was still a mixer. It was still a big, like a physical mixer, knobs, everything. Because I was like, okay, if I buy something that's all digital and the digital aspect of it goes down, I don't have a way to run rehearsals. If I buy something that's analog with an interface and digital component, if the digital goes down, I can still run a rehearsal. I'm still analog, and it still works, right? So that was my concern, and so knowing that, he pointed me towards this, and he was like, it's got really good preamps on it, so when you do track, you're going to be able to use really good preamps if you want to. It can be an interface and it's an interface that is a mixer, but will also record 22 separate tracks, which a lot of them don't. A lot of them do like a 2-track mix down. And so he's like, this will do everything that you want it to. The first thing he pointed to me towards, and the things that I saw at NAMM, were more like basically an input box, right? That was also, that had software, and then I could, all my mixing was done in software. And that was just kind of like, man, if this goes down, it's a brick, and it doesn't do anything. I can't plug it into anything. I can't use it for anything.
Yeah.
So that was my big worry there, was I was like, shit, I can't do this. But at this point now, I'm almost like, maybe I should have gotten a small mixer to just run the mics, and then gotten one of those things and used it as an interface.
Hindsight 2020.
But again, that was pre-COVID. I literally got this thing a week before everything was shut down. Like, I had this thing for a week.
You received it.
I received it.
You purchased it way before that. I remember.
I was
in January.
I chose it.
Yeah.
Way before. I got it. Well, no, you know what? You're right. I probably got it 2 months before COVID. So we set it up, and we were running rehearsals, right? But we hadn't set up anything else. We like maybe hooked up a laptop, because the plan was like, okay, get this running, get a computer in here, whether it be a laptop or whether it be, a computer of some kind that we can just run recording software on. But we hadn't got there yet. And so once COVID hit, it was kind of like everything shut down and everything stopped. And it was like, uh-oh. Because I didn't get it in January because January was NAMM. Right? And I got it. So
right.
I got it.
So
got it
must
in
have
March. I actually got
yeah,
it in March.
but you chose it in.
I chose
it's
it.
had to be in January.
I chose it probably at the end of January when I came back from NAMM.
Freezing my ass off when I got the text from you. I just remember it being cold as hell. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was now looking back on it, hindsight at this point is I'm like, man, that might have been a better move. It would have cost me more, which is honestly probably why Jared didn't suggest that to me, because I was also buying, powered speakers, and I was also I was buying a whole set of things, and I was like, and I had just bought like a guitar and I was like, dude, I don't have money. I need to do this, but I need to do this under this amount. And so he was like, this'll do it. This is what you should do. But looking back on it now, I'm like, man. And I'm still I'm still like, maybe I can do that.
Once we sat down with it, though,
but it does.
We
everything.
just figured
it
out.
Everything I would need it to do.
It will do everything that you need to do. It just doesn't do it. Set it and forget it.
Right, and that's where I immediately start to lose interest.
Right,
and I have to fight myself from. I don't know if anybody that's listening has that, but it's like if I have a goal, then that goal is what I'm working on. All the stuff that's going to help me achieve that goal, all that stuff, I have zero passion for. I don't care about at all. Right? It's a means to an end. It's like, all right, I need to be able to record so that I can get songs out to people. Cool. What the board is means nothing to me. Like what software I use, I don't give a shit. I don't want to learn 10 softwares to pick the best one. I want someone I know to tell me, like, do this one and I'll show you how to use it. And then I'm like, oh, cool, perfect.
I did that.
And then you switched yours. But still, whatever, it's fine.
Because I was the one that went to different ones all
right,
the time.
because
I'm sorry.
But like me, I'm just kind of like, will it work? Cool, I'll use it. And I don't care. I don't care who makes my cables. I don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care who makes my cables. I don't care what software I'm using. I don't care what board I'm using. Right? If it means I can create music and put it online and bring it to people, then I'm good. Because I want to focus on the music. That's my goal.
Right.
All the other stuff, couldn't care less. Which ends up being a problem because, like, I'll get something, and the minute it doesn't, like, do what I want it to do, set and forget, or, like, do it in a clean and easy way, I'm like, oh, fuck this. Because I don't got time. I don't want to spend time learning a thing.
Yeah, I get it. I get it, man.
I've learned a lot of things. I don't want to learn a thing.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Fucking nuts.
You're 27. And you've learned a lot of things.
Right, I've learned a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't want to make whiskey in my backyard. I just want to fucking drink it.
Right. No, I get that. I don't want to make whiskey myself. I like getting a bottle and just off the cap comes and down it goes.
You give me a documentary that shows me how it's made, and I can watch somebody who's passionate about that do that. I love it. I get into their passion, and that like makes me interested, and I love that. Do I want to do it or learn it? Absolutely not. Not even a little.
Yeah. See, for me, I felt like learning all this stuff, and I guess to a degree it was for you. Right. It came a lot out of necessity and learning the softwares and learning the programming and stuff like that. Because I got to a point and I've spoken about this and to people about this at nauseum at this point, but uh, you know, being a guy that wants to be in a band all the time uh, is a unique situation. Um, and the people who are the core people will often stick around for a long time because even after that particular thing is done, because they feel like, well, you know what, like I need them. I need them for this to work. But I needed to be in a place where have to I didn't have to rely on anybody anymore.
Yeah, that's an
Because
awesome place to be.
for me, learning this stuff and creating this space and learning all this is and getting all this rather was because it was like, you know what, music is always going to be a part of my life, and writing heavy. I'm not going to let anything deter me from doing that ever, because that's what I love to do. I enjoy it. It's fun. It makes me happy. And I don't want a group of people to define who I am and define what I want to do, because there are a lot of really awesome and fun aspects about it. And, like the dudes in Something Heavy, this past week we were writing some stuff that was brought in by other people, and I really enjoyed doing it. Everybody has to do that a little bit, but for
there's
me,
something to that. There's something to
yeah,
like no man's an island. You know what I mean? There
right,
are people that can play every instrument and they could write every part to every song. But when you get somebody else who is proficient or inspired or good at whatever it is that they do, and they put that, however much they put it, but they put that on your thing, right? It's something that you can't replicate, something
no,
you wouldn't have done.
right,
And sometimes it's not the what the song needs. Sometimes it's not what the thing needs. But a lot of times it is, and it's something you wouldn't have thought of, or it pushes you in a new direction. And that's
right,
the cool thing that separates music from like painting. Right? When
right,
you're painting, it's you. And it's you and the colors and the brushes and the canvas, and you're creating. When it's music, it's you and you've got those brushes and you've got that canvas, but you're inviting other people to add their colors and canvas to it. And sometimes, and often, I find that makes the art more interesting. Does it make it better? Sometimes, sometimes not. Does it make it more interesting? I think so. Every time.
I don't disagree, but at the same time too, what a lot of bands and a lot of people fall victim to is the same personalities basically saying, well, this isn't us, or
Right. Right.
so
Well, there has
it's
to be a
great that,
center vision, and everything has
yeah,
to be around that vision. I
right,
think.
right. So what was cool for me is, I brought in people.
Yeah.
When I was writing by myself, I brought in people to do just what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily have to have guitarist A, because guitarist A thinks things should be a certain way all the time, and that's that. And that's just not how I feel a song is.
So you can grab guitarist B.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an important distinction too. I think that's where a band sometimes can fall short of being able to bring in different people.
Right.
Just because there's so many positives to a band. There's so many positives to a band. And I think, to me anyway, they vastly outweigh the negatives.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be doing it still if that wasn't the
Right,
case.
exactly. There's just so much to it. But when you are writing and when you are bringing people in to assist you in writing, so to speak, or not, maybe not assist you, but contribute. Is probably
Help
better.
color.
Right. Yeah. You're like, okay, I wrote this thing. Here it is, and I want to see what perspective you're looking at it from. Right. Being able to choose, or even just try different people in those roles, has got to be a very inspiring thing, because you'll get to hear different takes and you'll get to hear different things and you get to kind of like get different people's opinions on what you're doing, and that in itself can inspire you to do things. Oh, I'm going to take that approach for the next time, or I learned a new perspective. Like Craving Strange has had a number of different band members, right? And to this day, when I write a song, I will think in my head like, okay, if I'm thinking about where I can go for like progression wise, if I'm trying to think of like where to go for a bridge, sometimes I'll think like, what would Tommy Balls do? Right? Because I played with him so much, and I know him so well as a player, that I can kind of key into that. And he taught me so much by being in a band with me. And then sometimes I'll even think like, okay, I'm writing some guitar textures over this. What would a Matabati do? Because he had such an interesting way of looking at things as a guitar player. And same thing with Frank. It's like, okay, what would Frank do here? Or what do I think Frank's gonna do here? So when I write it, he's my current guitar player. Where is he gonna go? Where can I lay back? Where can I let things happen? And I think about stuff like that. But then when it comes to like when I was doing Jimmy's Blue Notebook, and if I was gonna do that again, I think the next time I would do that, I would kind of reach out to people and let them, because I wouldn't want to do the same thing again. I already did that. Why would I do it the same way? Much similar to the way, like, I have to say, I really appreciate how Frank did Adjusting the View, how he had different singers come in and do takes on each song. I would probably take it even further and be like, okay, before I get to the end and then bring someone on, how would I have someone kind of mess with this? What would I have them do? I'd find a keyboardist, or I'd grab my bass player from Crash Transit, and I'd be like, okay, how would you approach this?
Yeah.
Or even as a singer, I'd be like, okay, let me step away from it and give it to Phil.
Right.
And how's he going to sing this song? I'm just going to give him lyrics, and I'm going to give him the music.
Yeah.
And just see what melodies where does he come in?
Yeah.
Where's his one? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Things like that, at this point in my like art life, are super interesting to me.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying, and I'm trying really hard to kind of like let go of a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have let go in the past,
well, see,
but
that's
at the same time, I'm trying to get better at doing everything the way that you are, to where I don't have to let go. I just can choose to.
Yeah.
And I've been in situations mostly where I've had to.
Yeah. Well, see, for me, when I first came into this type of situation, again, it came out of necessity because
Mm-hmm.
I was in a situation where I couldn't do any of that. And it was one of those things where it was like, you know what? I need to prove to myself, really. And that's the challenge I laid out to myself was I want to make a record. And if I want to have somebody on it, I have somebody on it. If I don't want to have anybody on it, I won't.
That's awesome.
And that's what it came to because, that particular, the situation I was coming out of was one of those things where everybody's opinion was weighed and everybody's
You were in
opinion
an
was
equal.
weighed
It was like an equal
yeah,
partnership
equally.
thing.
And even with the last thing that I did, it was,
Mm-hmm.
very much a democracy. And, you know, not that it's a bad thing ever, but I think that things get done a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, a little bit cleaner when you have somebody steering the ship and you know, I still want the guys that I play with to have input for sure. That's huge because otherwise, what other investment do you have in the band?
Right.
Especially if you're not a hired gun, But I wanted to make sure that this particular band stayed a little more the course that I was kind of directing it in. Versus,
I think that's smart.
yeah, versus a 5 equal parts or 4 equal parts, because it doesn't work.
Yeah,
It doesn't work.
I'll be somewhat controversial here and say that I don't think democracy works in bands. I don't at all. I think you
No,
have
you're
to
not.
have,
You're
just
not.
like you're saying, man.
Uh,
Just like you're saying, 100%. You gotta have someone in your band, and I'm speaking to the listeners that are in bands. Somebody in your band has a vision, and they have a more put together vision. And if that's you, you need to communicate to the other people in your band that following that vision is the way to go and to go with it. And if it's not you, you need to follow that person's vision and see it through, because whoever's got that vision also is the one that's going to be more capable of planning and executing, because everyone else that has like ideas are great, ideas are awesome,
yeah.
but if you point your ideas towards that vision, there's a better chance of them getting done. If
Right.
your ideas are always counter to the person with a vision because you're trying to assert your will or trying to show that you're equal, nothing's going to get done. Nothing's ever going to get done. Every band, someone's got a vision. Someone's
Right.
got an idea. Someone is better at communicating that vision and idea than the other people in the band. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't demean anybody else in the band. It just means that's the person that you circle the wagons around. And that's the person that your job is to help push that vision, because they
Right.
have a direction and you've got to go with that. And that's where I think like you're absolutely taking the right methodology with this one. My bands have always been pointed in the direction that I'm pointing them in. Always.
Right.
When it comes to the writing and the music and all that kind of stuff, I've always kind of like been like, okay, everybody's free to do what they want, and then we'll kind of figure out where it's going to go from there. And I like that aspect of it. I really do. But as far as like you're saying, getting things done and having a direction and having a vision and having it like move and not be halted, I think that like everything you said is absolutely like that's how it has to be. It
Oh,
can't
yeah.
be a democracy. When you're in something where everyone has a say, nothing gets done if everyone has a say.
Too
Or if
many.
everyone has an equal say.
Right. Yeah. It's it creates tough times. It definitely does. But,
Yeah.
you know, we figure it out, and with that, here we are stumbling upon our second hour.
Yeah. I think this is probably a good 2 episodes. And
I was thinking so too.
we should probably go ahead and say like episode 1 is random and episode 2 is music and
Yeah.
recording. And we should probably record intros to both of those separately once we stop this.
I completely agree.
Yeah. I'm
So
feeling that too.
so now that you've taken a peek behind the curtain, this is the second episode, but we're
Or
going to
maybe the
record
third.
the intro to this
Or maybe the
episode.
4th.
We're going to record the intro to this episode after we record the outro.
Yes.
Get ready to Tarantino it. Anyway, he is James,
Yes. He is Mike.
Craving Strange. I am Mike,
Something heavy.
Something Heavy. Together,
We have been.
we are Bacon is My Passion, and this is...
Strangerhood TV. Or Bacon is My Podcast.
both of them.
Edit it.
I'm not editing that. I'm so not editing that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's video and audio.
Yeah.
It's vocal and oral.
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 That's a funny word.
It is.
All right. See you next time, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. And please, I don't know if we're on iTunes or anything like that yet, but at some point we will be. So if we are, when you hear this, please leave a 5-star review because that just helps us get heard by more people. It really honestly helps us. It helps with the algorithm and push us up in there. And if you're watching this on Strangerhood TV, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell. Hit the bell so that you know when more stuff comes out, because again, it just helps us get heard. So if you're wondering how you can help us, that's how, and it's that easy. So do it, or you're a dick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you hate it, which is okay. And
That's
if you
okay.
hate it, don't. Why are you listen? Why'd you listen this long? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah. That was long. All right. Goodbye, guys.
See ya.